Welcome to tonight's Board of Health meeting for Wednesday, May 27th, 2026. Just a reminder, we are being recorded to call the meeting to order. Members,
John Tickner here.
Joyce Gilmore here.
Colleen Straponi here.
Jack McClellan here.
Alan Greenberg here, the gang's all here, that's great. We're going to go to 5.
Well,
We're gonna skip number 3.
Yeah.
For good and welfare for the public.
Right? So we're gonna go to nicotine-free generation.
You promised I'd be first and. Here you
gotta
are.
keep our promises.
Okay, I'm gonna hand out some goodies here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you can't-
Thank you, sir.
It's, whoa,
Yeah,
don't bring down the
yeah, all
whole.
that.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Thank you.
Everybody got one?
Yep.
And sir, if you sit right there.
Yeah, I'll sit here and then my famous words will be reported.
There you go. And if you could identify.
Yes, of
yourself,
course.
sir,
My name is Ken Elstein. I just completed my 6th year, so I'm starting my 7th year on the Belchertown Board of Health. In a previous life, I was on the select board and president of the County Select Boards Association, so I've sort of seen town government from a number of different perspectives. I'm here to speak on behalf of nicotine-free generation. Now, about 2003, the town of Needham was the first place possibly in the entire world to introduce and enact an age 21 policy. It took 6 years for the second town. Now, Needham is interesting because it was a complete island in the entire world in which the restrictions on nicotine were age 21. And yet, the result of that single act by their Board of Health reduced the incidence of high school kids. In those days, they were smoking. This is before vapes and all the other things that they've come up with. Was reduced by almost 50%, which in public health is almost unheard of. So it took 6 years, and then the second town did, and the third town. Finally, 175 municipalities in Massachusetts, cities and towns, out of 351, so that's half,
Yep.
passed it individually before the legislature got its act in order and passed a Tobacco 21 first state. It was only a couple of years later that Congress, in a very bipartisan legislation, actually introduced by Republican leader Mitch McConnell of a tobacco state, raised it nationally for age 21, and it was finally signed by President Trump in his first. So this is really a multi-partisan issue. In Britain, they passed their own version, and it was completed a few weeks ago, signed by who else? King Charles III. That also had very broad-based support. Something like 2/3 of Labor and 2/3 of Conservatives voted for it. So what it is instead of having a age restriction on sales, by the way, not purchases, not possession. This is not anything like prohibition in the 1920s and 30s. It's only on sale, so it only applies to the licensed dealers, licensed sellers of nicotine. Instead of age 21, it's based on a birth date. Now, we passed it in Belchertown. I don't remember the number. Maybe we were at the 8th or 9th municipality in the state to do it. We set the date as January 1st, 2004. So you do the arithmetic. That meant that in 2025, when it was implemented, so it's now 17 months ago, the first people who were age 21 could not be sold any nicotine products, and that includes not only cigarettes, but vapes and pouches and cigars and all the other things, like it seems like every month the big tobacco comes up with a new product. Anyway, that was really seamless. We held a public hearing, and the people spoke. The most impressive group, and I actually could send you a tape of it, was a group of high school students got up there and they had prepared testimony in support of this. Now, of course, this is who we're talking about. And each one read a couple of sentences from this, and they went around there, and there were a couple of dozen there, and a few of their parents were there as well. And so it was really impressive that the young people did not want their friends to die at 40. On a personal level, my grandfather died of cancer at 48. And so I never met him, he never met me. And it put his widow, my grandmother, into real poverty because they spent whatever they had on his medical care at the time. And my mother, in effect, never had her dream, although she did wind up going to college at age 70 and graduated cum laude at age 80, but that's really besides the point. The first municipality in Massachusetts to pass this was Brookline. It was immediately challenged by Big Tobacco with their expensive lawyers. It went to the Supreme Judicial Court, which ruled unanimously in something like an 80-page opinion that every one of the arguments made against it by Big Tobacco would be rejected. And that occurred. And so after that occurred, which I think was spring of 2024, if I'm not mistaken, it then became possible for other municipalities to do it. And as I said, we did it in December after that. We now are up to 24 municipalities. It includes Hopkinton. The most recent one to pass it was Medfield, and a string of municipality towns and cities going off from there. The second most recent one was Hardwick, which is a Worcester County town. So we're really, there are something like 670,000 people in Massachusetts who now live in nicotine-free generation municipalities. And we got more coming. I'm expecting East Hampton, for example. Yeah, in my county, Hampshire County, over 60% of the people living in Hampshire County live in nicotine-free generation municipalities. And obviously it's beneficial to have that kind of concentration, and you would be, getting that kind of concentration here. On my handouts, the second page is my wonderful summer reading. But the first page these are photographs of various things sold in nicotine shops in Massachusetts. They're mostly, or all of them are for vapes. The industry claims that they're not going after children. I really find it hard to find that teddy bear to be marketed to a 40-year-old. The guitar, I guess, plays music. The one on the right, you can download your apps or whatever. It's just astonishing to me that they can say with a straight face that they're not marketing to children. And Colleen, you might have actual local numbers, but the percentage of middle school kids and high school kids who are vaping in particular are probably available if you have them.
Yeah. It's not just the vape, and now it's the pouch too.
Right. Oh, the pouches. So that, they say, some of the towns say, oh, well, we'll just limit it to 6 milligrams or something. And then what they do is they put 6 in the right cheek and 6 in the left cheek. And if the teacher comes by to find out what they're doing, they swallow it. I mean, it's just gross. Anyway, so they underneath on the Merritt Parkway, the convenience stores have a sign, which was put up by Philip Morris of all people. And it says, the primary way youth get access to tobacco products is from consumers of legal age. And the point is, what we want to do is gradually increase, and it's one day at a time, basically. It would, in our case, we're now on first 22-year-olds who cannot be sold nicotine because we're now in the second year. The difference between what they call youth and consumers of legal age. Now, we were really happy when Amherst passed nicotine-free generation in November, because they have 25,000 undergraduates, almost all of whom are under age 21, and almost all of whom interact on a daily basis with people, fraternity members and the like, who are over 21. And that's how it's passed. While there is slippage in the sense of, we do inspections for the 21, which is state law. We've done our very first inspections, I should say, for nicotine-free generation. We did that in December. Most of the tobacco shops are obeying. We got an 80% compliance rate, which is better than we got in a lot of other things. But it's this passing down from over 21s to under 21s. How the middle schoolers get it is, maybe you have some answers to that. I don't know. But so the objective here is, because Big Tobacco comes out with new products every year, let's say, and you can ban one, and then the next one comes out, and then you can ban the next one, and it's like a whack-a-mole. Whereas what this does is it limits it, and it creates what's called an end game. And we've had formal endorsement from the Massachusetts Medical Society, from the from various groups, ATS, which is affiliated, is the MD component or affiliate of the Lung Association. I mean, it's really taken off here in Massachusetts, because we were the pace setters for Tobacco 21. So that's basically it. There's a lot of facts and figures here, list of all the companies. Oh, who else? Yeah. American Medical Association, AMA National, American Thoracic Society. And we're getting very close to some more endorsements, but I won't announce that until it happens.
You made reference to middle schools. Just out of curiosity, have there ever been any kind of statistic or formulation determined as to what kind of percentage at the middle school level people felt that?
It varies. I mean, typically, and all of this is old stat. You look at a 2024 report, which covers 2023, but basically, amongst high school students, maybe in the teens percentage. Middle schoolers might be in the single digits. But if you're addicted at age 10.
Oh, understood. Yeah, it's.
Kids think they're completely invulnerable. I was talking to one of the tobacco agents the other day and saying, well, it's not only cancer and heart disease and emphysema, it's also things like macular degeneration. My mother-in-law got that. She was a smoker and was blind for the last several years of her life. Kids don't think that's ever going to happen.
Well, they don't know. And nobody tells them.
But the one thing that she did say to me was they care about money. Okay, let's talk about money. Pack of Marlboro costs, I don't remember the number, $12 and something a pack. So if you're doing one pack a day of Marlboro in 365 days, the arithmetic comes out to $5,139.20. I remember that number. Now think of what you could have done, let's say even at age 21, with an additional $5,000 a year. And of course, it's not taxable. It's money that would be available. You can buy, buy a car or go to college or, all kinds of things. It just is amazing that a big part of the pushback by big tobacco is, oh, the convenience stores are not going to get your money. But of course, the money doesn't get burned. It goes back to the people who would have spent it, and they can spend it on other places in the community. And it doesn't all leave Massachusetts going to North Carolina or whatever. It's like they sometimes will say that they have a right to that money at the exclusion of all the other places that $5,000 a year could be spent. Yeah, I think the numbers of middle schoolers and high school students should be available. Do you know where to get those, Colleen?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. The statistics, at least from a couple of years ago, of nicotine use by children.
I would imagine the Department of Public Health probably has,
Yeah,
information
Right.
like that we could access.
I'll try to get that for you. But it's going to be single digits for middle schoolers and double digits for high schoolers.
No, I think you guys have actually probably solved the problem of the tobacco industry continually coming up with new products that we have to figure out how to deal with by just essentially aging out tobacco completely. I remember when Brookline did it, and it caught my attention that they were doing that. So it's probably the only way to cover all the bases.
Mhm.
Now, how did you select the particular date that you went with?
The birth date. Well, we passed it in December of 2024. We set the implementation date of the following January 1st, but we also decided that we wouldn't immediately enforce it, that our health director, we have 3 towns, the Quabbin Health District. Our health director would go to each of the people, give them some training, explain it, hand out signs. We printed signs, and they have not only they have to hang it on the outside of their shops, but also next to the cash register. And we had cost maybe $100 for the signs. I mean, we're talking about, and they last forever. So then once they understood it, and by the way, one of them came to us before our Board of Health meeting and said that it's actually easier for them to have a birth date. You're looking at a driver's license. It's easier to look at a birth date than it is to do the arithmetic of how old this person is. If there was any level of confusion, it's before rather than after, but it's obviously. And I said most of them complied. We went out in November, so what's that, 6-7 months ago, and told them we were going to do actual inspections, not on the under 21s, but on the age 21s. And they learned it, and we came back a month later, and most of them complied. A couple of them didn't, and they're getting the fines, and that's one of the things you'll have to sort out how you want to do that. But the date, to answer your question, the date was exactly 21 years before the following January 1st. There was some hope that everybody would pick January 1st, but it just, in 24 municipalities, it just hasn't happened. Town of Conway in Franklin County was amazing. None of us knew they were even considering it. They said, today is October 16th. Why don't we make it today? And they subtracted 21 years. I mean, come in tomorrow and suddenly not telling anybody.
Yeah.
I read about it in the paper,
Does anybody know if those point of sale systems that some of our convenience stores have put in would accept a date like that? So that when it scans the license, it would,
We had if I might, we had that question come up. The problem is that if they're also selling beer, the point of sale is different because it's age 21 for beer. So it would be, they probably have to reprogram it or something like that. But because it's a date, was this person born before 2006 or after 2006? You really don't need to do that check. What's really scary is they'll look at your driver's license and say, oh, you don't quite make it. Oh, we'll sell it to you anyway. Or somebody in line, anybody here who's over 30, buy it for this person. I mean, it's just unbelievable what goes on in that. And what does it do? Oh, it's selling a suicide substance,
Or cancer.
questions, comments?
So I see the communities that have enacted it out of curiosity. Have another community local commented that you've had the opportunity to speak to, or that?
I haven't, as you pointed out, I drove a long way, but we've been, I mentioned Hopkinton passed it, and the most recent one was Medfield. There is one exception. It's the only town that has rejected this, and that was Bellingham, next door.
Wow.
Bellingham.
And here's what happened there. They decided instead of the Board of Health doing it, they were going to turn it over to town meeting. And so you've heard from me now, it's almost a half-hour presentation. There was no half-hour presentation at town meeting. And meanwhile, Big Tobacco spent, we estimate, although they're not required to report this because the town clerk learned about it, we estimate they spent $10,000 on mailings to everybody in the town, telling them how evil we were for stopping adults from killing themselves. And the result was that it failed in the town meeting. The only other town meeting I know of was the original one in Brookline, because they don't have a Board of Health. And that was the first place it took place, and it passed. But in that case, they prepared well for it. So I hope we go back there, but we'll wait another several months before we go back to Bellingham. It's the only place that rejected it.
See.
Joyce, any more comments on this?
No, it's just that, for me, it's just so demoralizing, as a nurse, to see people who die from cancer, who have terrible, and they're like 22. And, nobody gets this, apparently. It's just sad that, it's not being totally evaporated in the whole world. But I tend to be a little Pollyanna. So,
Oh, that's why I'm here.
yeah,
Me too.
it's demoralizing.
Colleen?
I just think that it would be a cleaner, easier way for the board to keep up with the various and sundry tobacco products that they come out with, whether it's vapes or pouches or things like that, if the board considered establishing the year. That way you're not singling out a particular product. It's okay to sell this, but it's not okay to sell that. It's just tobacco products across the board. If it's you were born, you know, before, after 2004, whatever the board's pleasure is, then you can never not buy tobacco. We would have to go through the process too, excuse me, we'd have to, you know, have the public hearing, educate the tobacco vendors, which we're fortunate that we have very cooperative tobacco vendors. We have a very good relationship with them as well. And then would have to look at amending our tobacco regulation as well.
When did you last update it? Do you remember?
The tobacco regulations,
Yeah.
maybe 2 years ago?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, I go to towns and, you know, it's 10 years and
Oh, yeah.
Cheryl Sabara of MAHB will give you language, or we can just lift it from ours. It's mostly changing the word age 21 in
Right.
most people's and just replacing it with born before or after whatever the appropriate language is, a given date.
We actually had a previous member of the Board of Health, that this was sort of a passion of his. And he was, I'll say the catalyst that got the age 21
Mhm.
motion. So I know, even though he's a complete private citizen now, he'd be thrilled to hear that, you know, we were even having this discussion. I don't know exactly why he was so passionate about it, but he was all over getting the age raised to 21.
Well, let's invite him to either a listening session or public hearing. You don't legally need a public hearing, but most towns do that.
It's recommended, though. It's a good practice.
It's a matter of, do you advertise it in the paper?
Right. Well, that way there, it's less
Yeah.
likely to be challenged.
Yeah.
The other community that I work in was one of the first communities to go to age 21 for tobacco. And that was Blackstone. They actually, yep.
175.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't,
And some of the others didn't have any nicotine sellers. So, you know, I mean, there are probably 100 places in of the towns in Massachusetts that don't even sell tobacco.
so we'll have further discussions on this and decide whether we not want to implement it.
Mhm.
But it seems as though everybody's on board to move in that direction. So Jack, I would say maybe secure the language available and get it on the agenda.
It would actually, if the board does consider going in this direction, this time of the year is actually a good time of the year that we could notify the vendors and make it effective January 1st. So they would have, you know, they would have this time once the board decides, if the board decides that this is the direction they want to move in, they would have, you know, approximately 3 to 4 months to make that adjustment as well.
What's the feedback then, say, from the vendor perspective on this?
Not much. I mean, we estimate, well, you have to do the arithmetic, how many high school students do you have in your town and that kind of thing, and then multiply it by whatever percentage. But we find that I mean, it's gloom and doom that comes from the industry, but the reality is, if you do the arithmetic, for every 100 high school students you have, you might have 12 vapors. And so you're losing 12 out of the entire population. We're figuring about 0.5% sales loss, which they push back. I could think of a whole lot of things they could spend their time on that would be better, but I'm not going to tell them how to run their business. By which I don't mean the local convenience stores. I mean their lobbyists. Like, just to throw out one suggestion that we as boards of health don't have any ability to do. How about banning internet sales? Something like 7 states ban internet sales, not Massachusetts. Because that is a huge competition for the convenience stores. And of course, Some of them pay the state tax and some of them don't pay the state tax. And similarly, flavored tobacco products are banned in Massachusetts, but the internet has all its various failures and everything else, right?
Mm.
But that's not what they go after. They're going after 21-year-olds. Okay. So we should keep in touch, I guess.
No, absolutely. And I like Colleen's suggestion that we give our convenience store owners plenty of opportunity to ask questions, and if they needed further training or.
We could even invite them, if the board chooses to move forward in this direction, one of our board meetings, we could have them come in.
Probably a good idea, I think, just to get their take as a group and.
And discuss it with them and listen if they have, their concerns and whatnot. And then after that, then we could move forward into our public hearing and the amendment of the tobacco regulations. Of course, we have to have them reviewed by town council too. So it'll be a time, that's what I'm saying. It's, if the board is considering going this direction, this is the time to do it. So then we could make it effective January 1st. So it's not like in the middle of the year, because I think all of these things that we just talked about is probably going to take us until the end of the year.
Plus, the summer is a kind of full time. Or, inviting people to come speak, the like, right? Well, sure felt like summer today.
Yeah,
It did.
You may get all of them to show up. In our case, I think we had something like 3 out of 10 showed up. And we actually invited them in person. In Amherst, I think 1 showed up, and there was a townwide mailing done by the Board of Health. It's not on people's radar.
well, I mean, the thing is too, is that if they aren't able to actually physically attend the Board of Health meeting, they are recorded and they can listen to them as well.
Right.
But that the offer was there and that the discussion was had, the venue was provided, I think that's just as important.
Yeah. You want people to at least understand what you're doing.
And when you think about UMass, I mean, I was up at UMass and now it's like 3 times, 4 times bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And those kids are, free at last.
Recent alumna said to me that all of her friends vape.
Oh,
Yep.
my God.
Vaping is more popular at the high school level. It's the pouches and whatnot that are attracting the younger generation.
I think they consider it not using cigarettes.
Well, yeah,
It's,
And they can hide.
right,
Obviously can't hide a cigarette. You also can't hide a vape,
right.
but you can hide a pouch. And they come in these, it's same as this. They come in these little metal containers. So if the parents see it, they think it's mints.
That kind of look like an Altoid container,
okay, yeah.
Still moralizing.
Anything else?
No, I don't think so. We'll just get it on the agenda for our next meeting, have a little more discussion and decide whether or not we want to move forward.
I had Ken's email, he has mine, and we'll keep in conversation with each other.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Safe trip home.
Presentation.
No, actually, I'm staying over because I'm setting up for tomorrow in Worcester.
Oh,
very
good.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. You want to just
5A?
5As?
No, 62 Millville.
Gotcha. All right. Everybody have a chance to review that.
I even went down there.
Oh. I drove by.
I did.
I didn't
too.
stop.
I didn't stop either, but I slowed down very so that they knew somebody was keeping an eye on them.
All right, so,
It looked a mess.
I was surprised to see how many wells.
Yeah.
So we have Tom's letter.
We do have Tom's letter for approval.
Has everybody read it? Look at the plan. So we want to vote to approve the local upgrade based on Tom Ryder's recommendation. Or do we have any questions on the plan? Or-
No, not about the upgrade, the specific to the, the 4 foot or the 3 feet, right? I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and all that looks like there's a new well.
Yeah.
The distance to the well is fine, distance to the neighbor's wells.
Yeah, when I was so look at the plan, I reached back to Jack. When I was looking at the distances on the plan, I wondered if that was accurate. And then I was informed we actually have it's a 10-foot distance. And for some reason in my head, I thought there's a greater distance from the well to the foundation for a minimum. Then after I talked to Jack, I thought, oh, maybe it's 25 feet. I mean, that's 30 something, but he actually said it's actually 10. I'm like, oh, 10 feet. I didn't realize we had that lower minimum.
So I'll ask for a motion.
I move we accept Tom Ryder's question here. It looks very good to me. Everything very accurately done. And
Yeah, I'll second the motion based on Tom Ryder's recommendation.
All in favor?
Tom, aye.
there's I.
Alan, aye.
Thank you.
All right. All right, we did nicotine free, so
Yep.
we'll move on to Mass DEP Air Sensor Grant Award.
Yeah, so Mendon is currently in a hole in what they call the Purple Air Sensor Network. Mass DEP sent out a grant, and at the request of Brendan Schnell from the Select Board, asked me to apply for the grant to get these sensors. These sensors, at no cost, looks for fine particulates in the air. It's a mixture of solid particles and liquid droplets so small that they can be inhaled deep into the lungs and may even enter the bloodstream. Breathing these can aggravate asthma and contribute to other respiratory and cardiopulmonary illnesses. The Mass DEP has granted 5 of these sensors to the Mendon Board of Health to put around town. Currently, I'm thinking the town hall would be the center point, one down at the beach, one at Misco. I have a resident on Providence Street willing to host one for us, and I'm looking for a 5th host. So that will basically cover all of Mendon.
These are great too. A lot of data, and you'll be able to see it on the webpage. I applied for this grant for Blackstone as well, and we put them up in the area. They're really convenient, especially in the ball fields. If there's a poor quality air quality that day, and there's children that have issues with breathing issues, asthma and whatnot, it provides you with the data that you may want to rethink having your child participate today because of the quality of the air. It shows you the range too.
Yeah, so we're on the screen here.
Yep.
So here's Mendon. We have nothing in the town of Mendon, but Bellingham, and you have Hopedale, Northbridge, obviously Blackstone underneath us.
Would we want to put one maybe up in Nipmuc with all the ball fields and?
That's what
Well, it needs electricity and wireless internet connection. So that's what
the school.
yeah, the school has lights.
Misco.
Misco.
Misco's what was
Yeah,
one
up
hour
at the
flames.
fields there, yeah. So I mean, maybe that would be another location for the available sensor.
What do those numbers represent in green?
There's a chart down here at the bottom. Tells you how good the air quality is. I believe 0 to 50. Yeah, right there. Air quality is satisfactory.
Okay, so that's one of the pieces of data.
Yeah, that's what the air
It's
quality
looking
is.
back for air quality.
Yeah.
And how do you connect to get the data? Is this by anybody that they want in the
This
public
is gonna be public access, Wi-Fi access, so it's gonna be,
to web something?
correct, it's gonna be uploaded to this website.
Okay.
It's purple air. That's a.
Yeah, Purple Air.
It's
So,
a great tool.
And I assume they're fully weatherproof and,
yes,
Mhm. Hattie, New England Hattie.
yeah. And they'll produce results year round?
Mm-hmm.
What will they do, did you say? They would what?
Produce results year round.
Oh, I didn't hear you that.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just, I'm thinking, it'd be interesting if we don't think of going outside in the winter.
yeah, if you click on one, like this one here, I just did one,
Mm-hmm.
it'll show you like how, like the rate of it.
Spike.
So it all depends on where you want to click.
But I would find it interesting to see what the air quality changed during the winter when most of us stay indoors. Whether the air quality gets any better.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
All right.
Well, thank you very much. That's gonna be it.
It looks like, thank you to Brendan. It said Brendan came up with Brendan Chanel.
Yeah.
Came up with the idea for us to push forward. Is that right, Jeff?
Right.
Moving on, old business, Mendon Old Landfill Permit Modification Update.
All right, as you recall, Mendon had a deadline of April 30th to supply everything for the new wells that have been installed for the well monitoring and the water analysis. We submitted everything to the DEP by Atlas. And Greg Root reached out to the Mendon Board of Health, asking for an extension to review all the material that was received, given an extension to them till, what did I say?
June 8th.
June 8th. So another couple of weeks. And I told him, yeah, that's fine. He gave us extensions.
Oh, yeah.
More than willing to give him an extension.
Right.
Sure.
So just enough time for them to review everything and get back to us about
Right.
what he's reviewed.
And what would be the expectation come that date? What would we expect to?
I believe he's gonna either request more well testing, which we assume that he was gonna ask us for to a second round of testing anyway. But again, this goes to the permit modification of what we're trying to strive for, so I don't know what more he could say to that. But I believe that everything's been in good order for us, so I don't see any issues.
So would they be providing some sort of I guess, a written?
Yeah, response back to us,
Response
respond to
back.
them, they respond back to our answers.
And the new wells are online
New wells are online.
and the old ones.
Old ones will still, he's sitting there until, because we have to get permission from DEP to destroy them, abandon them,
Deconstruct.
deconstruct them. Yes, we have to get permission from them to deconstruct them.
Do we know if that is a long process?
No, they said they will just cut it off and just cap it.
Right.
Okay.
But it will show that, there was a well that was in new, and now the well has been terminated by being capped, by being deconstructed. So there's a beginning and an end to the well. That's basically what it is.
Okay.
Out of curiosity on those new wells that were put in, did they end up getting the same lock mechanisms that the existing?
And they believe they have the same locks onto them.
Okay, I was curious.
And how many times have the new wells been tested?
Just that one time when they first got in.
Okay. And were the results in line?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no surprises?
No surprises.
Good. Good.
All right, that's all I have for that.
All right. Anybody have any further questions on that topic? We'll move on, I believe, to Board of Health admin updates.
All right, so for the Wind Waste Innovations contract, the intermunicipal agreement update, we're in the final stages. The negotiation committee is hoping to have this wrapped up and ready to have it by July 1st. KP Law being the negotiating council for all municipalities involved. Once finalized, contract negotiations will begin with Wind Waste. So we are still waiting on the municipalities to get all together to vote on KP Law being the negotiating attorney. So that hopefully they're having it ready for us by July 1st. So still in progress.
Okay. Has everyone had a chance to look at Jack's new minutes? The update with the line
Yeah, I thought
numbers on the side? I
that
like
was an
that.
awesome idea.
Again, I saw this from another Board of Health meeting that I was watching, and I
So-
kind of like the idea as well.
So simplified, pointing out what needs to be adjusted, just 13,
Line 13,
157.
so just an idea for the boards.
Great idea.
So everybody's on board with giving that a whirl?
Yeah,
All right.
All right.
anything that makes things more easy and more, you know,
Yeah,
that's perfect, yeah.
thank you.
Summer meeting discussion.
Now, I don't know if I remember talking about this last year or this year to the board members individually or all together. But doing summer months where we only have one meeting a month, but having the second meeting date always available if we need one. So as you can see for this proposed schedule, like starting in June, we'll always meet on July 10th or June 10th rather, having June 24th available if we need it, meeting on July 8th, having July 22nd available, that type of thing. And going back to normal in September. I didn't know if the board was interested in doing summer meetings.
Historically, have we been meeting twice a week in most summer months?
I believe we have.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had this discussion with my wife just by chance. Remembering back to previous member of the board. And recalling that occasionally when there wasn't a lot going on, we would not schedule a meeting or we would cancel a meeting. It's been a while. Maybe because we did dumpster regulations and we were working on, hard on well regulations and things like that. So maybe it hasn't happened in a long time, but I would not be opposed to it. Tom and Joyce, what are your
No,
opinions?
I mean, I think it's a good idea and it works and, it's not like we're out of town somewhere and you can't get us at any point, I mean, I think that would work. And I'm just up the street.
Yeah, I mean, is there a case where something has to be
Correct. If there was like,
convene a meeting, you can convene it.
yeah, correct.
We have the date, I guess, in on hold type of,
Yeah, I would always have it in place.
placeholder. That's
Yeah.
the term I was looking
Yeah, how many hours in advance do we have to post?
I don't see any holidays. I guess Monday would be my latest that I would have to post.
for. 48 hours.
So,
Yep.
48 hours.
Yeah.
Still would pertain.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we're always available for signatures typically, if you have something signed or somebody come in with a,
I believe there are other boards or committees, I'll say, that do kind of lay low during the summer months.
In my other community, we go down to one meeting just for those 3 months.
Okay.
And then go back in September, back to the two.
For some reason, I think finance might take a break.
Yeah,
Yeah, Congress takes a break.
I'll just take that.
that's right.
Yeah, Trump's building a whole building there.
Yeah. maybe. Yeah, why don't we give it a shot?
All right.
See how it goes.
Yeah, fine with it. Sure.
If anything that comes up, obviously, we should always have that second date to still hold a meeting.
Sure.
All right. Thank you.
And I'm always available. up the street.
That's right.
Health agent updates, please.
well, we are officially in food truck season and weekends are monopolized. This weekend is a Friday, Saturday, Sunday events. So the applications are coming in like hotcakes. I'm also working on 2 housing issues I'm hoping to close out within the next couple of weeks, but Jack and I have been pretty busy with the food permit applications and inspections, the regular round of food inspections. This past weekend, on Saturday, I went up to the Imperial Grill because they were opening. And as I was going up there Saturday morning, I saw the fire trucks in the plaza where the Muffin House and Deluxe Pizza is and whatnot and everything. So on my way after that inspection, I went back and I thought it was the Muffin House because I saw the people outside. So I went in and spoke with the manager and she said, no, she said it was the pizza place. Apparently they put something in the microwave and forgot about it. And it created quite an odor and a lot of smoke. So I went in, took a look and whatnot, nothing, there wasn't any food or anything that was impacted by it. Just that strong odor, you know, like that pungent odor. So, and I took around the building while I was at it to check out the dumpsters. And everything was in order there, but I'll be going back to the pizza place because they're due for an inspection and there were a few things I wasn't happy with.
Where is that?
In the plaza there,
Yeah, is it like Subway?
right beside Subway.
Oh.
Yeah, there are
I
a
didn't know
couple.
there was a pizza place there.
Yeah,
They have a big sign in front.
I mean, I don't pay attention to that. I don't go there because I make my own pizza.
yeah.
You know, it's like,
So I was, so anyway, I stopped there. It gave me an opportunity. I went in Subway to see if there was, a strong odor in there. It seemed fun. I'm sure the fire department would have notified us if they felt that any of the food or anything was compromised. So working on that and also working on the dumpsters in general in the different plazas. We finally got the 2 dumpsters at the plaza where Pop and Cork is, those 2 clothing dumpsters where it's like a catch-all. And I'm keeping my eye on the one, where am I? Extra Mart.
Straight ahead.
Yeah. That's another catch-all.
Yeah.
People are just dumping stuff there. I didn't like the fact that those 2 dumpsters were so close to that restaurant. I just felt that it was an unhealthy situation. So that's something else. That's another project, a rabbit hole me and Jack went down. At some point, maybe we'll wait until, the fall, but to bring up the dumpster regulations for consideration, a few ideas that I'd like to just run by the board.
The vendor's been good about their timeline and submitting applications in time to give us time for process and all that good stuff scheduling. No, like fire, 11th hour. Okay.
He
No,
runs a tight ship.
I mean,
no.
again, if we can accommodate, I just don't want to.
It's just like, there's so many events. Fine Line's having an event this weekend. Barbell 88's having an event this weekend on top of the Van der Valk events. Van der Valk Spring Market is Sunday, so there's going to be a lot of vendors up there. It's just a busy time,
No worries with getting help from the collaborative.
No, not at all. Not at all. They're actually help with the main food establishments, helping out with them. The weekend stuff is on me. The collaborative is not available and that's, my
Yeah,
responsibility.
no, I just, it's a
Yeah.
great relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Us
Yeah,
still in
absolutely.
water.
Yep.
Good.
Very good. Very, very good. So, I'm hoping, that they're all successful in their events. But we are booked. Booked. No, but I'm not shy. I'll let you know.
Yeah, no,
It's just with the 250th also, there's a lot of things going on. We'll get through it.
all right.
so can we go back to the calendar? So we know when we're coming and when we're not?
Yeah.
So,
So you're doing June 10th,
okay,
holding the 24th.
Yeah, I've got that. Okay,
July 8th,
okay,
holding the 22nd,
okay.
August 12th,
Holding the 26th.
holding the 26th, and back to normal schedule in September.
I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't gonna be
Yeah,
sitting
Joyce,
up-
we'll
sitting
come
up
get
here.
you, Joyce.
we'll come get you. You're right up the street.
Oh,
Yeah, you can run, but you can't hide.
just wanted to be accurate. I'm one of those people, yeah.
Topics not anticipated within 48 hours? Yes. Joyce, anything in topics not anticipated?
No, I haven't heard anything. I try to keep, up on everybody and see what's going on and doing things and stuff.
I don't have anything that stands out right now.
Okay.
Colleen?
No.
All right. Good and welfare for the board? Joyce?
I think everything's good from my point of view.
Feeling good?
Yeah,
Yeah,
hey,
looking good.
trying.
You look marvelous.
All right. So before we adjourn,
Correct.
we need to reorganize. Any suggestions, comments, people that want to raise their hand?
Well, we got a little speech to do.
Oh,
You have to
No,
do,
you
no,
first.
you first.
All right, so this portion of tonight's meeting is to reorganize the Board of Health. After the town's recent election, I would like to congratulate Alan Greenberg on their re-election to the board.
Hey,
So at this time, I will take nominations for Chair of the Board of Health. Nominations, please.
Alan.
Nomination.
Are there any other nominations for the Chair of the Board of Health?
You do such a good job.
Well, thank you, but I mean, I do hear my voice a lot.
Well, we love it.
We do too.
right, mesmerizing.
If you're okay with it.
Kind of in a groove, I guess,
Yeah.
but I mean,
But we all will support every single thing and move
Mhm.
on and with everything. If you needed me to do something, same thing with you.
Yep.
If you need me to do something, all you have to do is call me.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I know all three of
Also,
you.
yeah, exactly. All three of you will do that.
Well, actually, four.
4, 5.
Yeah.
We'll do it all.
This is just a
That's right.
formality.
Correct.
So, all right.
All right, so since there are no other nominations, we will close the nominations for Chair of the Board of Health. We have Alan Greenberg, who has been nominated as the Chair of the Board of Health. And we'll take a vote, please. All in favor?
Oh my,
Joyce, I,
Congratulations, Chairman Greenberg.
congratulations.
I appreciate the confidence that you have, and I hope I represent the board well.
well, you know what? You do a lot of different things. You're around a lot, and doing stuff and anytime you wanted something, if you wanted me to do something, all you have to do is call me,
Yeah,
so.
no, I think we've had a very fortunate run.
Yeah.
Oh, I think so too.
And
I think the board's great.
That definitely helps. And the continuity, people know who we are, whether it be the general public or other boards, other departments. So I think that just helps us continue to have
Right,
a reasonably good run at this.
Like they say, you just call out our name and you know wherever we are,
yeah,
we'll
Mhm.
come running.
One way or the other.
In the words of the great Nana Banana, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
that's right.
Again, thank you.
Yes, you need to do yours now.
Are there any nominations? So at this time, I will take nominations for Vice Chair of the Board of Health. Do we have any nominations for Vice Chair?
Hey, you're looking at me like,
Well, I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and if you would like to be vice chair, whatever.
I'll continue in the role. If you like me to, if you like me to.
I'll second that. Any other nominations for vice chair? Since there are no other nominations, we will close the nominations for vice chair of the Board of Health. We have Tom Fickner, who has been nominated as the vice chair for the Board of Health, and we will take a vote, please.
I recommend Tom.
Alan, Tom?
Well, thank you all very much.
Congratulations, Tom.
Hey, vice goes well with me.
How was your Reba? How was your Reba?
You know, she still has it. maybe. Very good.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Continued participation in what we try to do. I think of the team on a daily basis, and you're all out there doing your thing. Even doing some other things like signs.
yeah, I've done a few other things, yeah.
I tuned into you.
Yeah, the signs we put the
You were
brothers.
doing
put
the
up
one,
on
you were
the
doing.
walls.
Oh, yeah, they look great.
Oh, the flags are very nice, the banners,
I was,
nicely done.
I was trying to read the name on one of them, and I was going,
Sometimes
I almost did that tonight.
we- who was
All right.
there.
I saw Roji on there, like, oh, that's my family member. Hey.
It was that was so different this time.
they're really
It's all
great.
military, was it all?
Yeah, with the exception of one for gentleman who passed from town. Billy, we put one up in
Oh.
honor of Billy, all his years of service.
Service,
Yep.
nice,
We put that up at his brother's request, right up at Ambrose Adjustments.
nice.
So it's on that pole.
Which they probably took down one pole and put up another pole.
Yeah, so we were fortunate that we were able to use all the poles on Route 16 while they were doing that pole
Right,
change. At
Jeez.
some point, because they have new poles,
right.
there'll have to be a transfer. Hopefully that won't be until, next year, that nothing won't need to happen this cycle. They'll stay where they are until we take them.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, they were so good.
Yeah.
I went for a little walk down the street so that I could read them and
Yep.
say, that's really great. Good job.
We're glad that most people opted to, provide a photo, which was great. Some of the flags that don't were general anyway, like people that just want to say general, trying to be the, veterans and service people.
But even those look dynamite.
They do look
It's the logo that was decided upon that.
And
was so
Tom's the one
Yeah.
that planted that seed
Good-
of the
good work.
portraits.
of the,
You planted the seed of using those portraits.
of using the,
the portraits, the pictures.
Sir, you saw it. in-
yes, correct. A couple of cycles
Yeah.
ago, I saw it up at another town,
Planted that seed.
saw,
Look what
thought it
happened.
looked great. And yeah,
And Rich Schofield works some magic with his computer.
Yeah, it's amazing.
he did a great
you know?
job, because can imagine a lot of those older photos that came to him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
We're in the best of shape. So Rich, and he loves doing it. It's kind of a hobby. He had the software and everything. He was able to clean them up and made them look like, they were new photos.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And so they're,
yeah, they look sharp.
very nice. Yeah.
we're very, very happy. And we hope that, next cycle, maybe more folks will be able to provide the photo, and we have to adjust a couple that are out there, but very grateful to the highway department for
Yeah,
putting them up, and
And so we're not doing Board of Health work. It's still out there.
That's right.
All right. On that note, I'll have a motion to adjourn.
Schedule next meeting.
Did we already talk about that?
We're doing June 10th at 7 PM.
Yes.
So June 10th, 7 PM.
And then we're gonna start our,
Yes.
very nice.
I have a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second.
second,
All in favor?
so am I.
Joyce, aye.
Al and I.
All right, thank you.
all very much.
Good night.